I had left this big log on the sawmill from I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I attempted to cut it, but the blade on the mill is just so dull. And it just makes wavy. It's too hard on the mill when the blade is dull. I've got plenty of blades. I just need to change it out. It's not really something that I've done. So Troy had gone fishing, and once he got back, I asked him if he would go back and put a new blade on the mill so that I could get this log sawed up, and he said yeah. And so we went back there, and you can see inside the mechanism there, it's just got the big, you know, pulleys and things in there, and it gets really dirty, so try to keep it cleaned out as much as possible. But there's a bunch of things you have to adjust and tighten, and I don't know how to do all that. So it only takes him a few minutes, and then I'm back up and running, and that blade will be good for quite a while. So this is him just changing out the blade. Because the sawmill is so loud, I thought if I use a microphone, you might could hear some commentary versus the loud sawmill. However, for whatever reason, I don't know what I did incorrectly, but the microphone was not working. This log that's on the mill is that really big. I think it was maybe 15.5 by 16, really big log, and I'm cutting it at 3/4 inch thickness because that's what we use on most projects. It's just kind of a versatile size for most of the things that we work on. And so here I am slabbing it up. And at some point I talk about how cutting it at really wide widths, like the full 15-inch wide piece of wood, it's pretty rare that we need something that wide. I do like to have some on hand, but I'm not gonna cut them all that wide because several reasons. It's really hard on the mill. The wider it is, the tougher it is for the blade to go through, and all that kind of thing. And then also, once I'm using it for the finished product, it's also difficult because none of my machines will handle that wide wood, like my planer and all that kind of stuff. 12 inches is the widest width that you can put through the planer that I have. And so in order to use this, it would have to be either raw lumber or I'd have to hand sand. So it just doesn't make sense to make it that wide. It's just not really that usable for multiple projects. So I end up, after I cut a few slabs off of the wide, then I turn it and I get it to where it's about 12 inches, and then I turn the log, and then I cut the rest of them at that width because that's something that I can use and run through the planer and so on and so forth. And that's just some of the things that I was talking about and why I was doing what I was doing. I also got really close to running my blade through one of the stays on the other side. There's these metal things that come up that hold the log in place, and you rise them up and down, and I almost cut into this one. Once I had cut quite a bit in the 3/4 inch that were about 12 inches wide, I decided I had a little piece left, and I thought I would cut some like 2x4s because I can use that for construction and maybe building table legs, etc. So I've turned it up now, and I'm cutting just 2x4 sizes. Now it's time to stack the wood that we just milk. Bit of dimensional lumber if I need to build something. Probably should have cut it a little bit smaller because a 2x4 in lumberyard lumber is like an inch and 3/4 by 3.5, and these are right at 2 inches by 4, so they'll shrink up a little bit. What is it that I love about Sawmill? I get the question all the time, especially from women. It's just, I don't know, it's cathartic because I take a raw material and I'm able to cut it down, and then I take that material and I create something out of it. So it just does wonders for, you know, overall happiness. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just the whole idea of having a hand in it. Not necessarily start to finish, because I didn't actually plant the tree, which that would be awesome, but I don't think that I can live long enough to do, you know, the whole circle of life thing. But that's what it is for me. It's just so meaningful. All right, now the not so fun part is the cleanup, of course. make all the sawdust, but it builds up. So you gotta keep it cleaned out. Gotta watch right here because this is Copperhead Central. This is perfect habitat for copperheads. So anyway, we got this huge pile of sawdust that we now need to, it's almost as tall as the sawmill. So I'll just get a rake and just scrape it out. I also like to try to clean out these rails. That sawdust gets built up in there. And this is the track that it rolls over, but it just gets gunked up in there. So I'll clean that out too. Bring the leaf blower back here. I have a time or two, but I always forget. Could be snakes in here too. I didn't think about that. If you move to the country and you're worried about snakes, then I say, well, you probably shouldn't have moved to the country, but snakes are going to be there. The thing is, they're not slithering around thinking, let me go find a human that I can bite. You know, if you go into their habitat, you just have to be aware and kind of get to know what snakes are harmful and which ones aren't. Looking down at a leafy area like this, instead of like, you know, moving your head and looking all around trying to find one, you just find a spot and you stare down at it. Because then, if you keep your eyes still, you can see movement. And if they're under the leaves, they're going to be moving probably really slow, but they'll be moving, and if you keep your eyes fixed on something, you can see them. So I'll just do that in several locations just for a few seconds at a time, and I'd say that's a good day's work in a couple of hours. It'll definitely be useful. Now that we're in the warmer season, it shouldn't take it long to cure and dry enough, and we'll take it and stack it somewhere else and then saw more. We used to have a lot of dogwood trees, and I'm not really sure if it was the goats that killed them all or what happened, but I'm so happy to see that we still have a few. So we've got this one right here. And when we pan around, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Right through there is white. I can see it with my eyes. There's another one. Off in the distance. The wind is picking up. I think it might rain this afternoon, so we better head back.